Going Commando with Angela and Dana is brought to you by finduniquelyyou.com.
Everyone has a story. I have a story. You have a story. We all have a story. As I see it, you have three choices. Allow your story to define you, use it to excuse you, or utilize it as a method to empower you. It's your life. You have the power. You choose. Rewrite your story on finduniquelyyou.com. We're shedding our masks and breaking down walls. Hell, we may even drop our drawers. That's right. We're going commando with Angela and Dana. Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is Angela DiMarco, and we are Going Commando. Going Commando is a little show that we put together because A, we think we're funny, and B, we think the world has to hear what we have to say. But really, we understand the importance of just being who we are and doing that publicly, and maybe giving those who watch this permission to do the same. So here we are, Going Commando. Good morning, Miss Angela. Let me ask you a question. I just heard a beep in my earphones. Are you hearing that sound?
I do not hear a beep.
Okay, great.
So it's on your end.
A ding or some shit like that.
No.
Anyway, good morning, Angela.
I was like, no. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is a Monday morning in New York, August 7th. Dana and I have just been apart for 10 days.
I know. It was bad. It was
bad. You, boo.
I'm all like, yeah, no attachments, and like, all this bullshit about no attachments. Meanwhile, I'm like,
So we always say that like we started recording Commando because we would go not talking pretty much over the weekend, little texts here and there, so we could be with our families. And Dana took a vacation with her family, and the day that she left was the day that I went with mine. And I got back late last night. So we haven't really talked, and we have so much to talk about. So we're going to be a little giddy because we're like, seeing each other for the first time.
Oh, man, I miss you so much.
Oh my God. It'd be like, Dana, I have 5 minutes. We're going to
I know.
I just got to hear your voice.
I know. I'm like, dude, I'm on the toilet. But
Okay. The kids are coming back. I just want to say hi. Okay, you good? Holy shit, that happened? Okay, bye.
I wish we were exaggerating. Seriously, dude. Seriously.
I know.
I had to like really think about it and like really look at myself and be like, what the fuck is your problem? like
Because you know what? Because, okay, we know that we have this awesome collaboration as business partners. We're also really, we've become so close as friends, right?
Yes.
And when something happens in our personal life, the friends part of us has to share it with each other because we give each other the reactions that we want. I know.
I'll tell Rob something and he's like, and I swear to God, this is my husband. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I know. And then if there's like a business idea, it's like, holy shit, I have a new shift in direction. You're like, okay,
yeah,
talk about it on Monday. And I'm like, oh.
And if I tell Rob, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. I know. I tell Maddie and she's like, cool, Mom.
That's nice. That's interesting.
I will tell you that, our commercial and the thing in your book, we all have a story.
Yeah.
Christian was brushing his teeth yesterday as we were leaving out of the hotel, and he goes, I have a story. You have a story.
Well, what's funny is my kids make fun of me for it because when I had to record that under 30 seconds, no matter how hard I tried, I kept being like 32, 34 seconds because I didn't want it to be like, I have a story, you have a story, we all have a story. And it was really difficult. So my kids kept hearing me. So like, so now every once in a while they want to bust my stones. Like one of them would be like, I have a story. And then they'll both be like, we all have a story. Like, as far as I see it or whatever the hell it is, yeah. So your kid is actually an homage. Mine are just
dicks. Yeah, dicks. We love our children. Yes. Okay. All right. So we just wrapped up doing 3 episodes on Recommandment number 6. We talked about judgment, expectation, and attachments. And that was really great. Each kind of had its own. So we're in the season of celebrating the 10 Recommandments, Dana's book, 10 Recommandments for Personal Empowerment, whichever way the book is going to go. Oh, thank you. If anybody is searching for the book, it is, please look up the second edition, but we'll put the links in relevant areas for you. And you can also go to phenom-publishing.com for information on Dana, her other books, all that stuff. Whew. Okay, that all being said, this week we are going to be discussing recommandment number 7, and Dana is going to take us through
it. Look, we're almost at the end. We're almost at the end. Ooh. Okay. The 7th Recommandment. I shall not refute the truth. Oh, before we start, I love this one so much because all the other ones at the end of the day, if it's not this one, then you got crap. Sorry for the interruption.
All right.
You could delete that if you want.
No.
I don't know. Okay. The 7th Recommandment. I shall not refute the truth and deny the solution to that truth. Rather, I shall accept that awareness and willingness are the keys to wellness. If I am not well, then I may lack the awareness or the understanding of the problem at hand or the solution to that problem. If I have the awareness and am still not well, then I am lacking the willingness to do what is necessary to rectify the problem at hand. I'm just going to add one more piece. Acceptance of these truths is the first step in the right direction. I also understand that anger, frustration, and discontent are just a form of resistance to the truth. And my readiness to accept this truth is my first step toward freedom. And I thought that last part was really important.
Yeah, no, I remember when you wrote this one, and because when you were writing them, you would send send a chapter, basically, and I would go through it. And I remember chewing on this because I didn't understand it. I was like, Dana, it's convoluted. I don't understand it. I don't really get it. But now that I understand, so I really want to focus on talking about the willingness and the awareness and how they go hand in hand, and how much it sucks if you have the awareness but don't have the willingness.
Oh my God, that sucks the most, I think.
It sucks the most.
And it's funny, I have to do a shout out to our girl Steffi Starr, because I remember once having a conversation with her and we were talking about what really is holding people back. And my response was, it's all accountability. Everything is accountability. You have to be everybody's looking, not everybody, just to be fair. People are often looking out for some sort of salve, some sort of, magic pill, whatever it is. And I'm like, no, it's personal accountability. And she said, no, it is awareness and willingness. And I really had to dive into that to make sense of that. And it really makes sense because at the end of the day, it is personal accountability. Because if you're not willing to do it, then you're getting nowhere. But let's just break this down for a second. So awareness and willingness. There are many people going through the world not even realizing that they are not living, as people like to say, their best lives, right? To their best potential. They have developed this cocoon of discontent and have just come to acceptance on it. And there really is a lack of awareness. There's also people who are aware that there is an issue, right? But they don't have the awareness of how to go about fixing it. And that's why they're looking outward, right? So they've got that awareness. Then you have those people who have developed the awareness. Oh, I'm this way because, you hear that all the time. Well, my mommy didn't love me and my daddy was a jerk star. You know what I mean? And they have the awareness, but they stop there because the work that it takes to put those demons to rest can be a bitch sometimes. Is a giant bitch all the time.
Is a giant bitch all the fucking time.
Right? So when there's people, it's unfortunate because when you have the willingness, I want to make these changes, but you don't know what to do, that's frustrating. But when you have the awareness and you're not willing to do the work and can't figure out why my life still sucks, and you're angry because, I don't want to be disparaging in any way, but because you bought the right crystal and you watched the right YouTube video, But the reality is the work, and that's where the willingness comes in.
Yeah, and it's a simple, to put it in like layman's practical shit that we deal with every day. It is the being in the relationship that is uncomfortable. You have an awareness that the relationship's uncomfortable, but you're not willing to do anything about it. And
Yep.
you're miserable, and you're seeking outside support. You're seeking outside
Yep.
comforts
Yep.
that
Yeah. Or
could
distractions. Let's just talk about
distraction.
self-soothing for a moment.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
bust it out. Seriously, like seriously, the shopping, the gambling, the drinking, the partying. I mean, we're all grown-ups, right? I get that, and this is not because I'm sober and so like high and mighty, but like I find it really sad when I see people my age getting hammered like at parties. I think it's very sad because your kids are watching you, you're acting like an idiot, and I just find it sad. Like have a couple drinks, who cares? But like to the point of getting so wasted like you did when you were in your early 20s, it's just not. It's just very, to me, very telling that you're avoiding something in your own life that you have to go that far to get away from it.
Yeah, yeah, and the easy argument, and this does not come from a place of judgment. It really comes from a place of observation. The easy argument is, but alcoholism is a disease, and I understand why people say that. However, what I think is many of us have a brokenness or a dysfunction that we have, and we've talked about this in all of our episodes, so I'm not going to go into a whole dissertation about it, but from our childhood that we learned unhealthy coping mechanisms along the way. Recommandment 3. But we learn these unhealthy coping mechanisms along the way, and what we do is we distract ourselves or we self-soothe. And we do this. And as we get older and we become more complex individuals, a 6-year-old is far more complex than a 2-year-old, a 16-year-old more than a 6-year-old, and so on and so forth. So when we are now in adulthood and we're even more complex, our self-soothing, our coping mechanisms become maybe more complex isn't the right way of saying it, but definitely more intense. You've
Or
heard
like
me
age appropriate, I guess.
age appropriate, right?
Yeah.
And you've
Yeah.
heard me say, Angela, when people don't overcome these things as we get older, there becomes a tipping point where you real dark night of the soul, where you really have to make the decision, and you could either do the difficult work and go down, that'll be your trajectory, or start to become a caricature of yourself. Whatever your insecurities are, whatever your weaknesses are, whatever your damages, whatever it is, it gets really, really dark and ugly. And that's the same with alcoholism. When you see kids, young people in their 20s partying, drinking, college stuff or whatever, that's all fine and dandy. That's what kids do. And then they learn. And then in their 30s, when they're still doing it, you're like, all right, they're a little late to the party. But when people are then married 40s, 50s, 60s and still utilizing that coping mechanism in the same way, it means their fork in the road, they just kept going in the other direction rather than taking the opportunity. And sometimes it gets ugly. Sometimes it shows up in health issues. Sometimes it shows up in failed relationships. Sometimes, whatever that dark night is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And I think the key there, what you said was it shows up no matter what.
No matter
No matter what. There
what.
is no running from your shit. It shows up, it repeats itself, it gets worse and worse and worse until it breaks you. And that is it. Like you either you nip it in the bud or you're pulling out like the dead roots. Like it is just the way it is. If I look back at all my relationships with boyfriends, husbands, I'm turning into my mother who's on her fourth. Okay. But there was definitely a pattern in who I was with those people, and the relation and the breakups got harder and the damage got worse every single time until I rectified that part of me that was needing to learn that lesson. So health wise, you ignore the pain in your boob and you go to the doctor and oh my gosh, you have a tumor in your boob because you didn't deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like everything has to be dealt with, or you suffer the consequences. So when things are uncomfortable or things are not, when you use your emotional guidance system to like rec two for those who aren't paying attention, if you feel icky about situations, try to create the awareness of what is icky about it. And it may not be like, it may not be as simple as, oh, I'm thirsty. I have an awareness. I have a willingness to pick up my glass and drink some water. It may not be that. The why am I always angry at work could be because your relationship at home is really shitty. And so trying to figure out why, like where the pinpoint of that emotion is, or that feeling, or that thing that's icky. And then once you have the awareness of it, to have the awareness and not do anything about it is the fucking worst.
It's the worst.
It is the worst.
Yeah.
It is like when I it is like, I'm going to focus on drinking too, because I'm recovered alcoholic, 13 years. I'm not an alcoholic anymore. 13 years in recovery. I just don't drink anymore. But I saw so many people say like, I have a problem with alcohol, and they would still go out and drink. And then it's like the shame and the regret.
The self-loathing.
Oh my God, I know I have this problem, but I can't do anything about it. Yeah, you can. You really can. You know what I mean? You're just using it as an excuse. It's another distraction. I can't, I don't, whatever.
But you don't understand.
Yeah, oh God, I know. Everybody's life is different and everyone's special and unique. My impatience is coming.
No, I know. Let's just let me tell you a story. I'll tell you a story. So I saw this bunny. No, I'm just kidding. So we're in Tampa. And Angela and I, we actually met at USF. And
University of Santa Fe.
So anyway, we went to Tampa. We went to Busch Gardens Zoo. We just tried to do something a little bit different. We're in Florida, in case anybody who's listening doesn't understand that. And instead of doing the typical 4-day Disney trip, we went to Tampa. So I haven't been to USF. I was there 10 years ago for a sorority reunion, whatever, judge me later, but for a sorority reunion. But I haven't been there in 10 years, even though I graduated 30 years ago. So I wanted to bring my girls there just to see the campus and, just get a sense, whatever. I thought it would be fun. They're too young to go to school, but I thought it would be fun. So I wanted to take them to the school bookstore because I wanted to have that experience to take them, but, buy them a shirt, buy them something with the USF gear, right? I thought it would be fun. So I mentioned it once or twice, but Rob, because he's so in tune with me, he was making it his mission. Like we were going to the book, like first day it was closed and we went back the next day, but it was important to him that I go, but nobody really understands why. So whatever. So we go to the bookstore and I'm walking around with the girls and I'm saying to them, and I know, a sweatshirt, a hoodie is like $80. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I know what I'm in for, but I want to do this for my kids and I'm not looking at price tags. So I'm walking around with them and, and I start to get emotional, but I don't understand why. So I'm ignoring it, right? So I'm ignoring it. And I'm like, doing the thing with them. And then Rob gets a little bored. He's like, I'll wait for you outside. Nala, I wound up getting what she wanted. And she goes outside with Rob. And I'm walking around with Yaya. And I'm waiting but I could feel it. It wasn't anxiety. It was just like I was on this mission, right? And I could feel the emotion in my chest. And then the tipping point was we're waiting for a guy to get the sweatshirt that Yaya wanted in her size. And this song comes on, the music, the radio. And there's a song that's very special to me that is connected with Nala. Bruno Mars, The Way You Are. You're beautiful.
Just the way you are, yeah.
Just the way it goes. The year she was born, that was a song that came out. I made a video. So every time we hear that song, Mommy gets, so that was a friggin' tipping point. Like that song came on and I'm like, keep it together. And I go and I pay for the stuff and I go outside and I just lost it. And I realized that when I went to USF, I grew up in New Jersey, graduated high school, went to visit the school, got on a plane, like no parental supervision, got on a plane, went down there. And anytime in the 4 years that I was there, when parents would come for something, or our sorority sisters would be dropped off like at the beginning of the year, like their parents like would show up and like take them to dinner, like who was going to Burns and who was going to the Melting Pot and like the fancy places, and who was having their rooms decorated. And I was literally on my own and never had that experience where a parent would take me to the bookstore and say, get what you want. And I didn't realize that the little girl, the 20-year-old Dana, who just desperately wanted that, was just sort of force feeding my children that they have this experience. But Rob fucking Schmoopy was so beautiful about it because he got it. Like he knew that I had to get it. He knew without knowing, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then when I was telling him, he let me break down. Of course, kids are like, why is mommy crying again? You know what I mean? Like I had my meltdown. But I'm bringing this up because I could have, if I wasn't so aware of my insanity, like I could have just ignored it and just, it's PMS, or but I had to look at it and I understood, there's a part of me that's still wounded by that. I never realized that I carried that wounded version of myself around. I just put a mask on and was like, I don't need anything from anybody. You know what I mean? But I didn't realize that sucked for me. It sucked for me. And so when I brought the girls there and bought them this stuff, it was an opportunity for me to revisit it. And I revisited it and I was able to put it to rest because as an adult, I understand my mother didn't have shit. My mother was so screwed up in her own life. She didn't have it at her point. That point in her life, she was psyched that I was 18 and I was off on my own. She just didn't have the bandwidth. But I do. And I could do something differently for my daughters. And then I started fantasizing about when they go to school, what that's going to look like. You know what I mean? And all of that. And it was really something. And when we got home from Tampa, I spent days achy, a little bit off. Even you noticed. You were like, you're right. I'm like, I'm fine. But like, I realized that is another part of me that needed to be flushed. I do this work all the time. I'm very much aware of what this is all about. And it hit me over the side of the head. So when people are going through life with a lack of awareness, they don't even realize why they feel heavy or why they cried for no reason or why a certain song struck a chord. It's time we start opening the blinders and looking at it, you know?
Oh, it's a beautiful story, Dana. Thank you for sharing.
It was something.
It makes so much sense too. And God, I'm just thinking about my Fontana Hall experience getting dropped off. My mom's like, don't let the door hit you in the ass. Take the boys to Busch Gardens. See ya. And I was like, bye. And yeah, everyone else's parents were there helping them make the beds and decorating. And I'm like, I didn't even know how to do laundry. Like, Maddie's going to college and I'm like, okay, this is how you clean a toilet. She's got to take care of her own bathroom. I'm like, here, this is how you do your laundry. Like she's, like she's going to go with the skills that I had. And I was like, Andrew, you can come home whenever you want. I'm here. Like, we're going to talk. My mom was like, I was like, don't you feel bad that we don't talk? She's like, I know you'll call when you need money.
My roommate, one of my roommates, because I siphoned through a few of them, but
me
one of
too.
them, she used to
Lisa
talk,
Guberman, poor Lisa.
But my roommate Trish, she used to speak to her mother every day, and her
and
mother.
You thought it was like annoying, right?
I was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I literally didn't call my mother until it was time for me to go home for Christmas, and I didn't go home for. So anyway, we could do this all day long, but the point is. It was damaging and it made us stronger, but the parts of us that were damaged by it should not be ignored. I hate using the word should. If we want to lead happy, healthy lives, if we need to transmute that, I now, again, as an adult, recognize that my mother didn't have it in her. Yours didn't either. Your mother had other priorities. It made you a better mother.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And when we can recognize them, we have the opportunity to break the patterns, right? Because we don't have to do the same thing to our kids. Well, this is what I had. This is how I did it. Like I partied my ass off in high school and college. Maddie does not drink.
Self-soothing at its finest. Yeah, like I was a total partier. I showed up. They knew the party was starting. And I thought I was so cool. No, I was broken. And I was waiting for that opportunity to go out and pop whatever the hell it was. Listen, I'm not going to lie, man. There was some of this. There was some of this. There was a lot of this.
There was a lot of stuff. I know.
Yeah.
Anything to take you away. I know.
Yeah.
And, but it's true. Like there's so many people that I can see, like I'll run into people now that I maybe have gone to high school with. Now they have kids and they are the same people that they were in high school. So, and they're treating their kids the same way that they were treated. So it's just like perpetuates the cycle. But you have this opportunity, and I have this opportunity to become aware of what drives us, what hurt us. And instead of wallowing it, or instead of like just being like, that's just the way it is, I'm not going to bother learning another way. That's what the work is. The work is, how do I make this a better experience for my child? How do I transmute that and make it now beautiful for the next generation to come through? Like, how do I break all those ancestral cycles that, were repeated?
Yeah. Yeah. And embracing and acknowledging the different aspects, excuse me,
Miss Scusi.
the different aspects of yourself in the process. Like there was a 20-year-old version of 20, 18, whatever version of myself that still was saddened by that experience. And all these layers, 21, 22, 23, 12, all these layers of ignoring it. And I was given an opportunity, I was triggered, if you will, but I was given an opportunity to recognize that that version of myself suffered and then put it to rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
It really was. It really was. Like, yeah, I got my ass kicked in Tampa. I was like, oh, that's fun. Yeah, I came home. I'm like, ow, why do I hurt all over? Because 20-year-old Dana's like, let me out of here.
Yeah, you went kicking and screaming. Okay, so if something sucks, try to figure out, get the awareness, like I'm not gonna do this as profound as Dana would do it, but try to figure out what it is that's feeling uncomfortable. Try to find the awareness of the source of your discomfort. And then you don't have to actually take the steps, but it's the willingness to take the steps when the opportunities present themselves.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean like, I have a certain situation in my life where something I know something has to get done, and I have the willingness to do it when the time is right. And so that's the relief, that's the work, that's the just when you have the awareness, you are and the willingness, you're open to receiving the opportunities to get you to where you need to get to. So yeah. So what this is one of those recs. I remember going over with you. Once I understood that, I was like, oh, it makes so much sense, because it's like a mouthful, like the rather I shall is a mouthful of what you were saying. But it's truly, if you break it down to little steps, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, because it sucks to have like the awareness and not do anything about it. It really does.
Yeah. And one of the things, the reason I read that second part of the recommandment is that when there's frustration, when there's anger, when there's irritation, that all that is resistance. So when you find yourself annoyed with that situation, work, your mate, whatever it is, you have to stop and ask yourself, what am I resisting here? Just use the gallery as an example. I made a decision to sell the gallery a few weeks ago, and now it can't happen fast enough because I made the decision. But there was resistance up into that. And I could see the places where I was irritated and annoyed. Like I used to go there and I used to say, open the doors and say hello to all my paintings. And then I was like, oh, I was like, oh, I got to pull the weeds again. I don't even live here. There was a resistance to what my soul understood. I growed out of it. It was time to move on. And we do this in our relationships all the time. I'm not going to go any further than that, but we do this.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Yes, we do. I had to giggle because you said mate. With your mate or whomever.
Or whatever, your significant other, your lover, whatever. I was like, why is she laughing?
Your mate. I don't know. That was hilarious. My mate.
Okay, moving on. Bye-bye now. Go ahead. Do your plugs, Miss Angela.
Yep. All right. So today, So Dana and I, our purpose is to share our stories authentically, openly, to show the way by being the way, like just to tell people, please share your stories, share bits of yourself, because we're all human. We're all going through this shit together. And every single one of us, our experiences they're all intertwined. Like someone has experienced something you've gone through, something, and it helps to talk things out. So we are running a Made for LinkedIn storytellers series where people are sharing their stories under 9 minutes, a little moment of stepping into their greatness. And it's beautiful. And we're going to start posting them. We've got our first recording tomorrow. I'm super excited with Graham. Shout out. And well, I'll put the link to storytellers down below. All you have to do is simply fill out the form. There's no cost to you. It's our gift to help, spread the love. And also Dana and I get really inspired by hearing your guys stepping into your greatness. And that's it. That's all I want to talk about today. So sorry, we're over 30 minutes. I apologize. Yeah. All right, everybody. Rec 8 next week. Oh, no. Special guest next week. Episode 32. All right. Have a great week, everybody. And we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you for watching this episode of Going Commando, Season 3, 10 Recommandments. We're so excited. Please subscribe to our channel so you too can become empowered. This episode is brought to you by Uniquely Phenom Collaboration. We provide tools and resources designed for creators by creators. Visit uniquelyphenom.com for more information.